These days, electrification is the buzzword in the car world, get it? Some car makers like VW invest in completely new EV platforms, others like Toyota are reluctant to shift from hybrids, and Kia offers 3 types of propulsion in one model, possibly awaiting to see how the situation will develop. This is the new Kia Niro. Today, its most popular form, so far, which is the hybrid.
The Kia Niro is a compact crossover launched back in 2016. It competes with the likes of the Toyota CHR or the VW T-Roc. In terms of size, the Niro is also similar to the X-Ceed. However, the X-Ceed can be had with a regular petrol motor, a mild hybrid or a plug-in hybrid, whereas the Niro can be a full hybrid, a plug-in hybrid or an EV.
I know some of my viewers get confused with the mild hybrid, full hybrid, plug-in hybrid and electric stuff, so I feel a brief explanation is needed. Now, if you're familiar with kilowatt hours, wall boxes and DC charging, just skip to the next charger on the progress bar. Charger? Not charger, chapter, see?
A mild hybrid is a more advanced stop-and-start system. The combustion engine can shut off not only while you're waiting at the lights, but also as you coast. A full hybrid is associated especially with Toyota. We're talking about a powertrain which combines a combustion engine and an electric motor to optimize fuel economy. Whenever it makes sense, the electric motor will help or even temporarily take over from the combustion engine. A small traction battery needed to power the electric motor is then recharged on the go with excess energy from the engine, as well as with kinetic energy regained during coasting and braking. A plug-in hybrid expands on the full hybrid business. There is a larger traction battery which can be recharged from an electric socket. This allows the car to travel in zero-emissions mode for up to several dozen kilometers. Once the traction battery level goes below a certain point, the car starts behaving like a regular hybrid until you recharge the battery from the electric socket. And finally, we get to electric cars which have an electric motor and a large traction battery and can drive even several hundred kilometers on a single charge. Charging from a regular home socket can take even up to several days, so you need a more powerful home outlet, or you can use a fast DC charger on the go.
More about various powertrains in my reviews, which I will link in the video description. And now let's go back to the Kia Niro. This is a brief launch event in Frankfurt area where Kia has its European headquarters. I promise to get my hands on other powertrain options in a couple of months when I get to the press cars back home. But today I will focus on the full hybrid, which so far happens to make up for majority of the Niro sales. Now, interestingly enough, the second most popular choice is the EV, leaving the PHEV in the third position. Kia boasts the second-gen Niro is built from scratch, but, and this may be good or bad news depending on what you're looking for, I think the car has retained much of the first-gen's characteristics.
Sure, the new Kia Niro is slightly larger than the model it replaces. It is 2.5 centimeters wider, the wheelbase is up by 2 centimeters, and the car is 6.5 centimeters longer as well. The first-gen Niro wasn't particularly interesting to look at, but the new one gets the bold design treatment like the recent Sorento Sportage or the EV6. Running across the front is a silver line which goes around the sides to the headlights. The grille is enclosed between 2 silver elements, and the daytime running light design is supposed to look like a heartbeat diagram. I'm not making this up, it's in the press release. An interesting side feature are the optional panels covering the C-pillars. They may be something for the media to talk about, like simply clever stuff in Skoda. However, air flows behind these panels, which improves aerodynamics. And what does your Skoda get? An umbrella and an ice scraper? Well done! The main attraction in the back are the boomerang-shaped rear lamps. You can tell from far away this is the new Niro.
Also inside, there's a lot of stuff we've seen in most recent Kia models like the Sportage or the EV6. However, underneath it all lies tech which seems to be taken straight out of the old Niro.
In terms of powertrains, at first glance, all the new Niros seem almost the same like the previous generation. The full hybrid still has a 141 horsepower setup with a 1.6-liter petrol engine and an electric motor. Fuel economy is around 4.5 liters per 100 kilometers. That's more than before, but it's because the previous model was tested according to NEDC and the new one according to WLTP. And there's a 6-speed double-clutch automatic transmission as well. However, Kia claims all powertrains have been modified. In case of the HEV, Kia worked mainly on the engine, but in the PHEV as well as in the EV, the batteries are different. Different chemistry, different supplier. Also, the DCT is different. Seeking greater efficiency, Kia got rid of the reverse gear, so now the car uses the first gear and the electric motor to go back. This allowed to save 2.3 kilograms, and the car uses a whopping 0.62% less fuel.
Although we've seen this infotainment in several Kia models, there is a new green zone feature. When approaching said green zones, the car, we're talking about hybrids, will try and cross them using mainly electric energy. Such zones include schools or hospitals. Also, the drivers can set their own green zones, like, for example, their homes.
The infotainment system is largely the same like in the Kia Sportage or the EV6. You can change the instrument cluster display modes, and the main screen can show maps, multimedia or hybrid powertrain data.
Underneath the central display is a panel with 2 physical knobs, yay, and some touch buttons. Now, depending on the mode selected, this panel can be for media or for climate control. Below is a smartphone cubby with ventilated wireless charger, a 12-volt socket, as well as 2 USB ports. It's a USB-A and USB-C, and Android Auto still isn't wireless. On the tonneau, there are buttons for heated and ventilated seats, heated steering wheel, parking sensors, and there is the gear selector wheel, knob, whatever you want to call it.
Further on the tonneau are a large cubby under the armrest with fold-out cup holders, armrest storage, the glove box, as well as the door pockets are average size. By the way, the interior is made mostly from recycled materials. For example, the roof liner is recycled paper, and the top-spec cars get vegan leather upholstery made from eucalyptus-derived tencel. I wish Kia replaced the piano black with eucalyptus as well. Do you think the koalas would mind greatly if the driver wasn't blinded by reflections or didn't see fingerprints all over the car?
During these launch events, we usually get cars for a few hours, and there are suggested routes to keep everything organized, unless, of course, someone has their own preferred filming and photo locations in the area. By the way, we're late for the main presentation. Anyway, the hybrid Niro route from Frankfurt around the Grosser Feldberg and back is about 60 kilometers. It's a bit uphill, a bit downhill. Now, because of filming, we may take a bit longer, we may drive a bit more, so the final fuel economy result will be on the screen here. By the way, the hybrid and the plug-in hybrid Niro can tow up to 1,300 kilograms, whereas the EV can tow up to 750 kilograms. Towing will, of course, impact the economy, and Kia is all about making this car as efficient as possible. The new hybrid Niro is 20-something kilograms lighter from its predecessor, despite larger dimensions, and that's mainly due to the body-in-white being 20 kilograms lighter.
In order to boost fuel economy, the driver can control regenerative braking or set automatic regeneration. In eco mode, paddles by the steering wheel control the regen braking. You can also set regen braking to auto, in which case the car will coast or slow down depending on the road conditions. In sport mode, the paddles control the gear change. Also in sport mode, the instrument cluster displays a rev counter, something that was missing in the previous generation. I complained about it when I was driving the Niro in the mountains and I wanted to engine brake but couldn't see the revs to know when to downshift.
As you may or may not know, in hybrids and EVs that do a lot of regen braking, you quickly get this kind of rust sediment on the brake disc. So Kia introduced brake disc cleaning. Press the auto hold for a couple of seconds, 3 I think, and the next several decelerations will be using regular brakes to clean the discs. Kia says the new Niro is stiffer and the steering is better calibrated. The former is supposed to reduce NVH and the latter is supposed to make the driving, handling more engaging, and yeah, it's okay. I don't expect the Niro to be particularly engaging. It's a car to get you from A to B.
The positives. The Niro is a very pleasant car to potter around town in. No complaints here. Also, if you need to get from your home to the town and drive on the motorway, mid and higher spec models get a laminated windscreen. Along with improved aerodynamics, there is very little wind noise. However, the road noise is noticeable at motorway speeds. And the petrol engine does seem to work more often than in the previous generation. I recall I could easily use the electric motor to climb up hills in traffic. In this one, the petrol engine comes on quite early. Perhaps that's why the fuel economy wasn't impressive. Acceleration. I didn't get a chance to test the claimed 0 to 100 km/h time of 10.4 seconds, but it feels much slower. Again, it's okay around town when you just need to get to 50 km/h. But when driving 80-90 km/h behind a lorry on the motorway and you want to overtake, it feels like ages before you reach 120-130 km/h, regardless of whether you're in eco or sport mode.
The new Kia Niro gets a large HUD head-up display, which shows you, among other things, information from safety and driver assistance systems. And the Niro has a lot of these.
Kia will warn its drivers about front collisions and it will do emergency braking if necessary. The same goes for turns across oncoming traffic. Cameras read speed limits and the intelligent assistant will suggest to the driver to set the cruise control to said speed limit. There is also active lane keeping assist, driver attention monitor, and much more. Nothing here that I would particularly praise or criticize. It's an evolution of what we've seen in other Kia models.
In the back, there is even more legroom and headroom than in the previous generation. Increased legroom is partly due to thinner front seats. We've seen these in the Kia EV6. Now, these weird humps here are actually for your coat. These are hangers. And there are USB-C ports in these front seats as well.
The backrest splits 40/60. There are not very big door pockets. Cup holders in the armrest are okay. Rear air vents may be an option on higher trims, and so can be the 230-volt socket. For the first time, the Niro gets electrically operated tailgate. Unfortunately, it's proximity-based rather than gesture-controlled, which may not be to everyone's liking. I had other Kia tailgates start opening when I was opening the garage door. The boot is bigger. The hybrid variant gets up to 450 liters, 25 less with a mini spare. The plug-in has the smallest boot at 343 liters, while the EV gets the most cargo space at 475 liters, plus a 20-liter frunk. Finally! You can drop the floor for more space. Depending on the market, the hybrid may get a mini spare under the floor. The mini spare may be deleted and replaced with a repair kit if you select certain options. PHEV and EV get the repair kit only.
I also like this soft cargo cover. It takes almost no space when you need to carry something larger and use the entire 1445 liters with the seats folded. We've seen something like this in the Toyota Yaris Cross.
Prices of the new Kia Niro start at €30,690 for the hybrid. Back in the day, this could get you the top trim hybrid. However, the hybrid Niro is still on par with the hybrid Toyota CHR. The plug-in starts at €36,690 and the EV starts at €47,590 before any local incentives. The test car I got to drive during the launch event seems like the German Spirit spec, which starts at €37,290 for the HE.